Hey, it's Chris here with another exciting episode of Dungeons and Doom Biscuit. I made a fighter last time, and let's see if I got him on the character sheet here. I do. Alright, on my fancy-dancy DM clipboard, which I can't operate with one hand. So here's our fighter. We called him Ted the Fighter. He was level 1, human, chaotic good. He had tremendous stats, tremendous everything. He was the best. So I got his whole character sheet here. I even wrote in his great sword that he was able to afford, and I went through the rest of his gear and his money and stuff. Did his weight, all the fancy. Whoops, sorry. Stuck to the clipboard. There we go. But I filled in his whole character sheet. So we have all the statistics behind our fighter now. What we really need is a backstory for our fighter. Who is our fighter? What's his life like? What kind of personality does he have? So, what we want to do first is we want to say, what was his background? Well, there's a couple different things we could do. We could say he was the son of a guard or a hero, son of a hero. And his mother was the mayor's daughter. Ooh, that's good. He was raised to be the hero. Now, just with that right there, he was the son of a hero and his mother was a mayor's daughter. He was raised to be the hero that his father was. Just that enough there is enough to put enormous amounts of role-playing into the game. Maybe you respect your father as Ted the Fighter, and your father was your hero, and you want to be just like him, and you want to be doing the right thing. Maybe you're always trying to be a little braver than you have to be, trying to fill his shoes. Your mom was the mayor's daughter, so perhaps you're feel a little more educated than the average person. And with that intelligence of 13, you are smarter than the average guy. Maybe you've been educated, so you feel like you have to try harder, be braver, and always help figure stuff out. And even though the rogue and the wizard are geniuses compared to you, you always feel like you have to put in your 10 cents. So just this little bit right here gives us an enormous amount of role-playing material. Now, the next thing you want to focus on is, what do you do now in life? What is it that you do right now? Well, you're a hero. Have you actually tested yourself as a hero? No, but you're a hero. What kind of personality do you have? Well, you're brave, or at least you think you are. You are intelligent, educated, and your grandfather was the mayor, so that means you probably have some kind of loyalty to your town. So your loyalty is a big factor. So that's what we got. Now, being brave, intelligent, educated, and loyal, those are all great things. That's good personality traits. You're not going to be perfect. Maybe secretly you love a married woman. Ooh, a little scar on the good hero. You're jealous of her husband, the merchant. All right, so we got enough to role play with here. We got a lot of information here. So let's go over it one more time. You're the son of a hero. Your mother was the mayor's daughter. You were raised to be a hero that your father. Your current profession is that you're a hero, and you're brave, intelligent, and educated, and loyal. But you secretly love a married woman, and you're very jealous of her husband, the merchant. You don't have the kind of money that he has, and things just aren't the same. Now, I came up with this name. Ted the Fighter is actually your real name is Theodore Thatcher. Ted the Fighter is kind of a nickname people in town gave you. You're chaotic good, so you believe in doing what's right, but the rules don't really suit you. And with your grandfather as a mayor, there was probably a lot of harassment as a child to do the right thing, and it just didn't suit you. So now we've got this much, and there's a couple more steps we need to take. In 3.5, I am obsessed with miniatures. So let's go over here to where I have a lot of humans and find somebody that would make a good Ted the Fighter with a great sword. Ooh, what's that guy? Let's look at this one. Not the best paint job, but he's got a great sword and a bunch of other shit too. All right, so we got a miniature. Now we need a voice. Now, not everybody has a rough and tough, gruff voice. It helps, though, to imagine your character as somebody. Perhaps you imagine Ted the Fighter is actually Arnold Schwarzenegger, which is a voice that almost everybody has their own version of. You think Ted the Fighter looks like Arnold and he talks like Arnold. Yeah, what are you gonna do? I've got a great sword here. My father was a hero. I'm in love with a married woman. You know, you could talk like that, or you could tone it down a little so it's not so ridiculous. So there we were in the tavern drinking a beer. Then I got attacked by goblins. Now, some people can't do voices, and if you can't do voices, that's completely fine too, because you can change the pitch, inflection, and tone of your voice. You can choose which words you use hard syllables on differently. For example, this is how I normally talk. This is how I talk as Ted the Fighter. Or, this is how I talk as Ted the Fighter. Or you can do the Christian Bale Batman thing. Make your voice grainy and low. This is how I talk as Ted the Fighter. But it's still your voice, and you're just changing different parts of it. I am Ted the Fighter. You know, talk like a crazy person. Whatever it takes. You don't have to have the ability to do voices. You don't have to be like, hello, Gov, I'm Ted the Fighter here. You know, just, I'm Ted the Fighter. I stand for truth, justice, and other stuff. You know, so keep that in mind. Remember when you introduce your character, don't be you. Be Ted the Fighter. When the DM says, you know, the four of you find yourself sitting in a tavern. You all look familiar. You grew up in the same large town, but you don't know each other by names. Something strange has drawn the four of you together. You feel the urge to introduce yourself. Then the DM says, out of game, who's first? Well, you, Ted the Fighter, would stand up and say, I'm Theodore Thatcher. I'm a hero like my father. And I don't know what it is about this group, but I feel like I'm supposed to address you in some way. Whatever you say, you know. Or the DM might completely say, the four of you have been selected by the mayor to work together to scout out goblin hideouts, or whatever it may be. Whatever the DM says, you know. But you just play into that. Now, all that backstory you came up with, make sure you run that by your DM. You know, don't just show up and start spitting that stuff out. Talk to your DM. Give them a note card or a piece of paper with some of that stuff written on it, explaining your motivations. That way, he can work it into the story. As a DM, I love it when players actually take the time to have a backstory, and I don't have to try to create one to make the world seem more real to them. If you invest in your character, it comes back tenfold. So that's about all I have to say about Ted the Fighter. Thank you guys for watching. This has been Chris, and I guess be the player.